Hi, I want to talk about befriending and what it is. So, the definition of befriending is a relationship between a volunteer and a service user, which is initiated, supported, and monitored by a voluntary or statutory agency. So, that's the definition of befriending that we use within action on hearing loss. Now, what I want you to do is to think about what befriending is and what befriending is not. So, take a moment and have a think about what it is and what it is not. So firstly, let's talk about what befriending is not. Befriending is not for you to try and solve all the problems. It's not there for judgments. You're not a counselor, nor are you a therapist. And you're not a babysitter. You're not brought in as an alternative to home help or as a driver. Equally, you're not responsible for making any of the decisions of the befriendee. You're not there to offer advice. And what we don't want is a situation where the befriendee becomes dependent on you. You're not an expert, and equally, you're not an expert on caring for older people. And befriending is not a replacement for skilled, trained people such as care workers. Okay? So let's talk about what befriending is. So it is there for you to spend time with the person regularly, giving individual attention and support, and helping and enabling them to help themselves. And what we want you to do is to try and encourage them, encourage choice. You might come into a situation where an individual isn't that confident or isn't aware of the choices that they have or are able to make. You're there to be good company. Many people will not have the opportunity to see other people or to communicate with other people. So it's important that you're there to be a good listener, that which in turn helps reduce isolation. But most of all, we want you to be there and have fun. So what I want you to do now is take a moment and think about why does the client need a befriender? Think about the most common things that an individual might need support with. Okay, so let's talk about the potential issues. You might have somebody who's potentially isolated because of a lack of family or neighborhood support. You might find that because they're the only sign language user or the only deaf person in the area, that has a difficulty for them in terms of communication, in terms of transport issues that might be quite in a rural area, but equally in terms of companionship, they might be on their own, they might not have a husband or wife. In terms of their health, obviously in terms of communication difficulties, being a sign language user, that initially will be a difficulty. Many of the people in the organizations they communicate with will not share a common language. Also in terms of mobility, there might be difficult just to sort of get out and about. One of the other things is self-esteem. They might not have the confidence or ability, they might struggle with change perhaps. They might prefer to sort of stay in their own home or stay where they are and not have anything change around them. Even just things like sort of general knowledge, not being having access to other people who share a common language. So sometimes they might find the difficulties that they have is accessing information in their own language. So let's talk about some of the benefits of befriending. So in terms of the befriendee, the person that you might be supporting, one of the most important benefits for them is developing more established community connections. Those positive relationships that they will make. So, and obviously being having the opportunity to be monitored by Action Here and Us, we make sure that those relationships are positive. We make sure that the relationship is an ongoing one on a regular basis. Ultimately, we want to have the individual have a better sense of self-worth, and they're more accepting of who they are. You know, maybe their life circumstances have changed, they've moved into a care home or whatever, but also it gives them opportunity to accept that, access the sort of the wider range of life skills they have, but also take far more control of their current situation in their own lives. There may be more support services available to them, and they want getting support and accessing those more appropriately. You know, we don't want everyone to have reliance on statutory services. We want everyone to develop far more opportunities for them to have the support themselves. You know, for example, research from university has said that whilst the befriending relationship will actually have a small but significant impact on reducing things like sort of depression, isolation, and that's actually university research. So it's very important the work that befriending has on the individual. So in terms of social isolation, you know, unfortunately, the detrimental sort of health effects can be increased mortality. You know, people might have more at risk of dementia because they're not accessing information in their own language. They potentially have more stays in hospital, you know, potentially more increased number of falls, you know, more prone to depression, but also their blood pressure will go up and actually, unfortunately, the risk of suicide. So you can see the benefits befriending will have, and it will actually reduce all of these potential health effects. Now, as you may know, there are many ways to sort of make somebody feel better. Just a simple "Hi, how are you?" you know, will have an impact on people. Many people have actually said to us, you know, that they want to have you know, a bit of fun, a bit of self-worth, and sort of a challenge. And being a befriender will help all those things and give you the opportunity to achieve all of that.